exactly an artist, but then I'm not a computer programmer. People want an intro, for example, to a game, an introduction to a game. It wants to be 3D, it wants to have lots of colors, it wants to have lots of motion, lots of animation. They have an idea. We sort of bounce the ideas around to what we can do, what we can give them. We tend to work with the game designers to an extent as how it would look, you know, as opposed to how the game would play. We don't actually really touch on that side.
And you get your alien coming in, sort of blowing on the hologram, and that changes.
That's a new part of the industry, if you like. It's still in its infant days. What you can do with it is still being discovered. It's exciting. I mean, it's the best word for it. There is a lot of pressure, there are deadlines to hit, especially the way production's working these days. You can't just churn something out one day and get it out on the market the next day. You know, you have a deadline that's set several months ahead, and you have to hit that target, you know? So obviously you work the hours until you get it there. But if you're getting into a project and you really like it, you'll tend to put those hours in anyway. I was interested in computers. I started moving into studying computers, doing languages and such like. I did a 2-year BTEC. From then, I sort of moved from there to do an HND, which was in design communications. And you don't have to know where all the chips and everything reside in the computer. You don't have to take it down to that kind of level. And it's not something to be afraid of. It's something that when you get into, you get drawn more into it, and you want to learn more.
At Gremlin, I see myself basically as an artist, clear-cut artist. It was a few long years in the sixth form, followed by a year at Polytechnic doing a foundation course in art and design. I intended to go on to do a degree, but unfortunately, I started specialising too soon. I started working for Games Workshop. I had the opportunity to go down and work at their design studio, commissioning artwork, and it was there that I basically got my background in the game sphere, as it were. My job is a bit of a melange of all sorts, really. It's coming up with ideas. It's also doing artwork on screen. I'm not a computer whiz kid at all. It helps if you can draw, definitely. But the art packages that we use make it all so simple. You'll find that most of the designs are actually worked out roughly on paper first. You can't work out roughly on a computer screen. Things must be sketched out first and okayed. You know, if the design's okay, brilliant, stick it on the computer screen. If it's not, start again.
I'm a musician. Basically, my job's split into two halves. Half of it is writing music, songs as you'd know it, or small pieces for little bits during games, end sequences, beginning sequences. And the other half's completely different, but attached is sound effects, which takes up the bulk of my work, believe it or not. Each given project, I sit down and play for an hour or two, and see basically what the gist of the game is and what sort of atmosphere, what sort of mood you want to create. And I start off by writing the music first.
Sabotage is rife. The threat of attack, constant.
Sound effects are a completely different ball game. You get a game and you've got no sound on it whatsoever, and it's a really eerie experience. You're sitting, you're playing something and there's nothing feeding back. And while you're doing that, you've got to try and conjure up some idea of what you would like in that part, you know, whether it be comical or straight. All of the things are sequenced on computer. Most of the time I use a PC-based software. Occasionally I use Amiga. And Amiga-wise, I use the same thing everybody else in the country uses, so I'm no different from anyone else. So I'm competing against all the kids in the bedrooms who've probably had an Amiga 10 times longer than I have, and they've, you know, developed all this expertise, and that's who you're competing against. I've always been in bands and been a musician, keyboard player, since probably 14, 15, a few of us got round and did Human League covers. When I left school, I went to college. I went to Polytechnic after college and carried on through business studies courses. Did a HND in business studies. Then I went into computer lecturing, did a bit of part-time lecturing for about a year. And then after that, I got a job as a civil servant temporary, then it became a permanent job, and it was working on computer help desks. So there's always been a link with computers right since school, basically. But I never really got on with computers and never fancied it for a career. It just happened that way to me. I love it to bits. It's a great job. I won't swap it for the world. I certainly won't go back where I've been.
I can visualise a continuous growth in the computer world, yeah. It's not going to end. Things are always getting better. There's always new ideas, new things to do. It's not going to end, not as far as I can see.